Ahoy VC, still not on the personal oasis yet. In the midst of transition, new job, and working. However, we are still representing the blind island. I'm Isaac, and I wanted to come at you with some new videos even throughout this transition. Didn't want to skimp out on content totally, so we're going to continue on with top 100 countdown. My favorite 100 albums. Again, this is favorite, not what I think is best or most artistic necessarily, but ones that I come back to again and again. I just want to say thank you so very much to just the entire vinyl community for just sharing support and love. This really is the greatest community in the YouTube, just in general. And you know, there are a couple of accounts that really have always had my back. Thomas Pallam, always reaching out, always doing some great stuff. I'm sure he's been on your channels as well. Rachel, the Music Ma'am, always giving me great shout outs, always reaching out, commenting, just one of the sweetest gals. Liz, she goes by, or Lise, sorry, goes by L.E., she has such great taste, does her own videos on occasion. Love what she did. And, you know, just Dean at Grandma's Handbag, he just entered into the contest, and he's just one of those guys that I've been watching for a very long time on YouTube. And the fact that he even entered into this contest is really, really amazing to me. And just really great guy. Just go check out his content. His top 100 list is really top tier as well. So without further ado, I'm going to enter back into our top 100. At number 20, I have the Kinks Are the Village Green Preservation Society. This is just one of the best folksy, baroque, neo-psychedelia albums out of the 60s. This is a concept album that came from Ray Davies and just the Davies brothers in general, pushing to have a sound that was 100% their own. It sounded like nothing else that was coming out at the time, where everyone else was going into deep psychedelic freakouts. They decided to go even deeper into their roots of England and just talking about village greens and going to Sunday school and enjoying the smaller, finer things in life. Rather than going big and grandiose, they went small and simple. And to me, the music, even though I say that, it sounds beautiful, lush. This is an original reprise stereo copy, and unfortunately reprise stereo didn't have the best quality as far as production value was concerned, but it still shines like a beautiful beacon. Absolutely wonderful, essential 60s listening, and I highly, highly recommend that you check it out. At number 19, I have the Lively Ones Surf Rider. This is just, if I were to give a recommendation for a single surf album, surf rock album, this would be the album I would recommend. I know that a lot of people go to Dick Dale as their choice as king of the surf rock gods. And yes, he is an amazing guitarist, but his albums are spotty at best. Usually includes a lot of vocal tracks, which he just wasn't a strong vocalist to begin with. These guys, however, are just amazing players. And this is, as an album, as a full record, works so well. The guitars just cascade over you like a wave coming out from the deepest part of the ocean. You can feel the Southern California breeze as these songs go about. And there's just so many fantastic tracks that are on here. Surf Rider, Surf Beat, Let's Go Trippin', Hot Dogging, Caterpillar Crawl, and my personal favorite is Surfer's Lament. Just a really forlorn, melancholy, beautiful number. And just if you're really looking to get into surf rock, this is the entry point for you. At number 18, I have Bobbie Gentry's The Delta Sweete. This is the point where I wish that YouTube didn't have such strict copyright claims. I know that I said in my last video I was going to be doing a lot more needle drops to kind of give people a feel for what these sound like. However, they just struck that video down, and I had to limit it to just 2 needle drops from albums that weren't that well known. However, as this list goes up, these albums are a little bit bigger, and I know that certain labels are far more predatory than others. And this is just a record, however, that I wish I could play for you, because I have heard that this has often been referred to as the Sgt. Pepper's of cosmic country. And I would have to say that I couldn't agree more. She is on fire, one of the best female country vocalists of all time, but she transcends country. She's soulful, she's rockin', she is just a top tier female vocalist that doesn't get the praise that she deserves. Also, every single track is loosely connected with a musical thread. Each one flows perfectly into the next, and just experimenting in the studio as well. Her version of Reunion is so incredible. Multi-track layers piling on top of one another. It's one of the greatest studio songs ever created, and she goes from that to just wonderful reinterpretations of traditional blues numbers like Sermon, and I can't sing this album's praises enough. Bobbie Gentry, The Delta Sweete, may be one of the greatest concept albums in country music history, and one that definitely has been rediscovered recently by Mercury Ray, doing reimagined covers of this album. But to me, this is where you need to go. And at number 17, I have the Velvet Underground, Loaded. Velvet Underground has, without a doubt, probably the most perfect discography of any rock band in rock music history. Barring the very oft questioned addendum to their discography, Squeezed, which was primarily just Doug Yule continuing on with the Velvet Underground name, only in name alone. However, the Velvet Underground as a band ceased to exist after Loaded, and many people will have their own arguments for what is the greatest Velvet Underground album, and in fact I have another one showing up a little higher on this list. But to me, if you're looking to dip your toe or finally figure out why does everyone lose their mind over the Velvet Underground, this is the spot to start. A&M came to them on this cotillion subsidiary and said, we want you to make an album that's loaded with hits. And boy howdy is this album loaded. It is fantastic. Every single song on here has a hook. Every single song on here is truly just grasping everything that is rock and roll. I suppose that some could make the argument that there are just small weak spots in it, but to me this is like a quintessential summer listen. It makes you feel good. It makes you want to roll down the windows in your car and sing out, "My life was saved by rock and roll." And also has sweet moments of tenderness that were introduced in their third album, like I Found a Reason. And it's so beautiful that I even included it when my wife and I got married. It's one of the songs from our playlist, and if you listen to it, it's one of the most romantic, beautiful tracks ever recorded by a rock band, and it is truly a loaded album. And at number 16, I have Sufjan Stevens' Come On, Feel the Illinoise. This is Probably the last truly contemporary album that will be on here, and it's on here for a reason. This guy, Sufjan Stevens, was primarily known as more of a folky guy, more definitely in the singer-songwriter realm, even though his earliest material was very much in the electronic bent. And what he does is he takes that stuff that he was working with, starting to tinker with on Michigan and Seven Swans, which are both phenomenal records that you should check out. And he takes those elements and completely crescendos them in this record. It is an album full of opulence. The production value on here is crystalline and full of songs that completely break your heart. Nick Drake is a person that comes to mind when I think of songs like Casimir Pulaski Day and John Wayne Gacy Jr. He is able to make you sympathize with the most horrendous and terrible people and put you in the minds of people who are suffering, and also make you feel like the world is a beautiful place and full of transcendent glory, with Chicago as the wonderful opulent centerpiece of this album. Granted, it occurs earlier in the record, but to me it represents everything that is beautiful about Illinoise. And it's just one of those records that you can put on at any time, and it has a mood for anything. It is incredible. I can't sing its praises enough. And for those of you who are into proggy stuff, there's some elements in here for you too, with a hefty running time of almost 2 hours. There's something in here for anybody and everybody. This is a 2015 10th anniversary reissue on colored vinyl, and it's one of the most prized albums in my possession. And I just think that everyone should take it, listen to it, breathe it, and love it. All right, guys, so what did you think of the latest segment in the top 100? Let me know in the comments below what you think. And just thank you again so much to just everybody who's subscribing to the Blind Island. Really appreciate the support, and just stay safe, be blessed, and I hope that you have a great day on your own personal oasis. Cheers.